November 21st, 6:01, we'll start the meeting. First, we have a public hearing, required second public hearing to Community Development Block Grant CDBG number 285 HR 320-21. Is anybody here to speak to that?
Yeah.
I don't have anybody signed up, but I need to say it 3 times. Again, for the second public hearing for Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, number 285 HR 320-21, which provides funding for the city's income property housing rehabilitation program administered under the New York State Small Cities CDBG program. Is anybody here to speak to that? Last call for the public hearing on CDBG grant number 285 HR 320-21. Okay, with that, I'll close that public hearing. And we have a public hearing number 2, notification of intent to apply for retail cannabis dispensary licenses. Anybody here to speak to that? Again, notification of intent to apply for retail cannabis dispensary licenses. Last call, notice of intent to apply for retail cannabis dispensary licenses. Okay, with that said, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Scott is recorded absent. Councilmember Silliman,
Here.
Councilmember Pinello,
Here.
Councilmember Lane,
Here.
Councilmember Thompson,
Here.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Here.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Present.
Councilmember Michaels. Here.
We're gonna rise to the salute to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can have a moment of reflection for all involved in the fire that happened this weekend at 37. We'll talk more about that in detail. Thank you. I don't believe we have anybody signed up for privilege of the floor. I don't see anybody with their hand up, so we don't have anybody for presentations. We'll move to monthly financial reports. Ms. Henty.
Good evening. We have a year-to-date report that was run through November 16th. It was an odd time period with the missed meeting, so I just gave as close to a year-to-date as possible. As I have been doing, the summary for each fund is in your first page summary. Currently, general fund expenditures outpaced revenues just shy of $6 million. Water revenues are ahead of expenditures by $516,000, and wastewater revenues are just over $1 million ahead of expenditures. You'll recall the last time we met on a financial report, I had made some notes about, I feel like debt service isn't posted, that I found there were a variety of items that had not yet been posted to the financial system. So it is not that we spent all this money this month. It was, we had certain things that were properly paid, but were not booked into the financial system. So now we're kind of catching up, which is a challenge as I report to you every month and find more things, but we keep working as a staff to try to find everything and get everything lined up. I will highlight, we did collect an additional $3 million worth of revenue since the last financial report. 1.8 million of that was our third quarter sales tax distribution from the county, and that is slightly ahead of the same distribution from last year and is essentially right on target with our budget. So that's great news. We will get one more payment. It'll be well after the close of the fiscal year due to the lag in reporting. I do anticipate roughly $5.4 million in various state aid per capita, our Q4 sales tax payment, as well as the remaining transfers from water and wastewater funds. That does not mean we're only going to get $5.4 million worth of revenue in the general fund. It's just the easy things that I could pull out, at this point in the year to know. So I'll continue to work with departments on their end of year projections and the hopes that we'll have, additional information for you on December 5th. We will still require an omnibus amendment or a cleanup amendment around year end. It is looking, just by getting my hands on things, we are gonna have to do that right up until December 19th meeting, just because keep finding stuff. But we will do something on the December 19th meeting and likely something again around February to just talk about the cleanup process at year end and the transfers that may or may not have to be made as we're closing the end of the fiscal year. Excuse me. We also have our grant and capital project reports at the end of the financial report, the last 6 or 7 pages. If you have any questions, I'm happy to dive into more detail on those. I did want to highlight for the council that we've already set our 2023 external audit engagement letter. So I know it'll feel like you just did this, but we have engaged with our external auditor and are starting some components of the process as soon as the first week of January, and with the goal to have field work completed 1 week in April and 2 weeks in June. If we can meet all of these deadlines, we'd be looking to present your 2023 financials to you around August. All still very much early in the process, but that's at least what we've engaged on as of this week. So I just wanted to keep you aware of that. You all received a communication from me maybe 2 weeks ago at this point now. We have sat on phone calls and with emails with our ratings agencies. There are 3, many of you are aware of them. That is Moody's, Fitch, and S&P for Standard & Poor's. 2 of those, Moody's and Fitch, have downgraded us based on our current financial position. While this is not ideal, I will say specifically in the Moody's situation, we had a 1-step downgrade and we could have had further, but they specifically argued that while the scorecard was a 2-step downgrade, it's the continued effort, the austerity budget, the reviewing of individual expenditures, that they felt one was necessary, but we will continue to be reviewed annually by the rating agencies until we are through this. It will likely get a tad worse before it gets better. Just be transparent with you all. And S&P received all of our information, I believe, at the end of last week, so I would imagine a report coming out from them soon, so you'll get another email from me about that update. They have not indicated what they are going to do, but obviously if 2 of the 3 have downgraded, it is likely that they will downgrade us there as well. I am happy to talk about that process if you would like a presentation at a later date, or if you'd like to set up time with me to go over what this means. In a nutshell, it will mean that our borrowing will cost us a little bit more money. It's kind of like a personal credit rating and credit score. 2024 development process, Common Council submitted their proposed budget on October 31st. That document's available online in the city clerk's office as well as the Department of Finance. If anybody in the public wishes to review that in person. Next steps include we are required to file the tax cap documentation, which we are requesting an override this year, but so you are all aware, something has to be filed every year, regardless of whether or not there is a tax cap override, as well as filings for our constitutional tax limit, which will come in sometime in December. So those are being drafted and taken care of as we speak. December 5th, Common Council will have 2 public hearings related to the budget. The first is to override the 2% tax cap, and the second is the 2024 proposed budget public hearing. After that meeting, I will summarize the comments that we received, and unless there are any changes, what you'll receive from me are some technical adjustments to the budget that we've gotten some more information, so I'll send out those changes to you. As well as we had talked about changing the FICA and Medicare out into the budgets. So you'll see, it'll look like a lot of lines, but that'll be the vast majority of the lines. And then you're scheduled to adopt the budget on December 19th. For implementation January 1.
So do you mean to subgroup that within the different, budget codes, or just,
As a whole.
or do you do it as a whole
So currently it's budgeted as a whole, but it's posted
within each?
within each code, so, during the review process, it was gonna kind of morph what, everything you guys were gonna look at, so right now, we have it sitting in the proposed budget online, and sitting in essentially a non-departmental code. I'm going to spread that across every department, so when you adopt it, it'll hopefully come very close to matching, what they're actually expending. I think it's sometimes a challenge for a department head or others to read they're like, do I just ignore that? Like, you guys are taking care of that, right? And I think if we can give them a budget, they can help monitor that situation holistically with me as well, instead of just having them kind of ignore some of the personnel ones. So,
Thank you.
and with that, that's what I had to highlight today. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Hunter, appreciate that. Appreciate all the hard work day to day. So
Yes, thank you.
great. So,
And the really articulate explanations. Not easy to be the bearer of that news.
every day.
Thank you.
All right, some mayor's reports next. So, in conversation, we had a public hearing for the Lake House Cannabis here. They do have representatives on site. I think some of you took the time to do a tour, which is great, to see what it's about. So I just want to make sure we have any questions there. If you remember right, the reason we did the, public hearing is to write a letter to the New York State on the recommendation. At one point, we had 2 applications. But, since then, the one has pulled out, so we just have this one, maintained. So, based on, it is an approved location via our code. And, is there any other input that anybody else want to see, anything different or written in there to be said? Okay, so
Move it along.
all right, so, we appreciate you guys coming, and, if you have any questions, we'll certainly anybody can reach out. I think they make themselves visible and make themselves known, and thank you for that.
Mayor,
Yeah.
talk about the security at all on that?
I'm sure he'd be more than willing to talk about the security. It's a good question, because the security changed from when it was originally proposed. You can step up from the state, right? Mr. Suits, so they addressed, the security was a little bit different now. Requirements are different than when it first started, or is it still?
Well,
Come on up and speak into the microphone. There you go.
Paul Suits with Lake House Cannabis. When the regs first came out, it was gonna be a lot more stringent than it is right now. We're still waiting for some more regulations to come out to finalize all that deal, but one thing we did is, I mean, if you've been down by the place, and we put up a fence around the entire place for gates. You know, the reason being for that is when there was either cash deliveries or cash withdrawals or product deliveries or product withdrawals, I think it is your deliveries coming inside the fence gets locked up so no one else can get in there and all the deliveries are in the back. We do have there is 19 cameras on site, around the building and outside the building. We use a separate, company for monitoring everything. That's all done independently. Every door has sensors on it, everything, everything's all designed with code, fire systems, suppressive systems, everything's been blessed there. We are, since our application is in, for the second time it's in, so it's in, it had to be in by the 17th of last Friday. And now the state, within the next 3 to 4 weeks, is supposed to start reviewing all the applications. And then start notifying people of licenses and things like that. There's still, that changes every day with the state, but that's as of right now. And there will be some other requirements, or really not requirements, what they're gonna want us to do, they haven't officially said you know, we want armed guards on site or whatever that is. I know that we've already talked to a security company just to have one set up, just in case we needed something. There are, several opportunities to, hire some locals that have reached out to us about, you know, some part-time, you know, some retired, officers or other people like that that have reached out. So we're just waiting for the official word from the state. You know, and if, yeah, I mean, please, anybody's welcome to come down and check the place out, but everything is controlled. When you come into the building, you gotta be verified that you're 21. It's into the same system that Chimera is a company that we've hired to handle all that stuff. So just like you're going into a bar, you gotta show your license. You're not 21 of age, or your license looks fishy, or if it doesn't come, you're not allowed in the door. So the first group of doors is locked, you gotta show your ID. You're not allowed but to be buzzed into the waiting room until you're blessed. Then you're in the waiting room, and then literally you will be called in what's called a bud tender to go into the product where everything is displayed. Now, nothing is displayed with product, it's all fake packaging. Nothing can be out for someone to grab. Everything is behind locked doors. So you got what I'm gonna call the product room. And then there's the back of the house where literally there'll be a half a dozen kiosks set up with registers and people. And, you know, you walk up to them with the bud tender, he tells you what you want. And then someone's gotta go to the back room where the belt is, get the product, and then they will carry the product to the cashier to be able to hand over to someone when they pay. So and then every night, everything's gotta be locked up. We have a vault room, it's 20 by 20, roughly, I can't remember the exact size on it, but it's 20 by 20. Double sheetrock inside, double sheetrock outside, steel studs, steel mesh, gauge mesh, both on all four walls and the ceiling. There's a camera inside, there's smoke sensors inside, there's motion detectors inside of it. Plus, it's built in the middle of the complex, in the middle of the building inside. So you gotta get by all the other cameras, all the other door sensors, everything else in order to get in there. And actually the steel mesh has some kind of a vibration sensors hooked to it. So that if you start shaking if you get through with a saw or something like that, it's gonna set those off too. So it's, in my opinion, built above standards, compared to a lot of the other dispensaries I've been into. There's not many built like this. I can think of 2 or 3, but it's pretty secure, pretty safe.
So I know some officers that work down in the dispensary down in the Commons. They have armed officers down there.
Down in the,
Yes, and there's armed officers in Syracuse. That's my concern, because you got the 81 corridor, somebody going in and, you know, got a main area of PNC and all that, pedestrians and all that. That's my concern is having an armed officer, you can have all the security you want with cameras, but having an armed officer there is a big difference. It's a big deal.
no, I totally agree with that, and it's something that we've talked about. We're still waiting for all of our final paperwork and licenses, what to do. And, I'll be honest, I haven't been down to the one in Commons. I've been to the one in Syracuse several times, and I've been in there multiple times without armed guards.
It's just gonna help our police department also.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't need, you know, our officers responding every single time. It's gonna help assist our police department and, you know, not tax them. You know what I mean? Having armed officers.
Totally agree. And, and there was an independent company that we reached out to,
Okay,
that we have talked to.
Okay.
And it's something, depending on how we move forward and what we do need and what we don't need. And yes, we would rather be a little bit more on the safer side than not.
thank you.
So if the state were to come through and say, you know, we're not gonna make them take armed officers, would you put somebody there anyway?
To start with, our plan is, yes, we're gonna have someone there. Have I personally talked to a couple of people locally that have their credentials to be armed and stuff like that? I have. Are we gonna start out that way in the beginning? Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, that is the plan as of right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, and just, I do know I was in White Plains last week and there was a new place went up down there. And, you know, there was a garden in White Plains, there was, so, yeah, we're gonna be very cautious to begin with. Because you don't know, you don't know, and, you know, also on top of that, we try to open it up to anybody that wants to come and visit the place. You know, and that goes with, you know, we're planning on doing it with the police department, the fire department, you know, we got the Knox box gonna be on the building for, fire. Everything's been labeled now, I mean, you know, we missed a, fire pole by accident, and that's already been put in by one of the doors that, I don't know how we got four, not, and missed one door, but we did. And, but so, yeah, and we're, any recommendations, any things, you know, one thing, I know probably a lot of people don't know me or myself and so forth, but, you know, I chose to stay here and I was born in Cortland Hospital and I want to keep my kids here and them and the family here and we're part of the community, so I'm just trying to, you know, we want to make it a good place for everybody else.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we put a lot into it, the state, and we should have been up and going about a year ago, but our state is, had a lot of red tape to deal with, so.
Let's hope we're working on it. We hope we get that cleaned up. Thank you.
I hope so.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Guys.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, next, construction updates, Groton Ave finished, today technically, and, Main Street is done. I want to thank the DPW for doing the paving and the painting of the lines. You know, they stepped up and made that happen. The other crew couldn't get people to line it this late in the season. Everybody was behind. And they were able to get those parking spots, which I think helps for people. It was erratic where everybody was parking and, they cleaned it up very nicely. They did a super job. They really have been stepping up to the plate and really, really appreciate it. And we want to remember that at the next meeting when we look at ratifying their contract. So at our next meeting, we're gonna have 3 contracts to ratify. One is DPW, one is fire, and one is the crossing guards. So that will be brought on the agenda for our next meeting. So that was an update on that too. I appreciate, everybody that helped put that together. You know, Ms. Henty, Mr. Meldrum, you know, Ms. Brown from the, HR department, and, you know, I appreciate all their help that they've done on that to get that together. And make that work, so hopefully they'll get ratified within themselves, we'll bring it to us, and we'll discuss it next meeting. Cortica happens since our last meeting, and, that was a great event and a great win, which is important too. Police were proactive in handling it. Code office was extremely helpful too, in being proactive in handling it, make sure that everybody was not overoccupied in the bars. And actually, some of the bars actually thanked us for that, or appreciative of what the code office was doing by being proactive. So that was, I think, well worth the efforts to do. I think it all went very well. We had very minimal problems, and I think in their town council meeting, we even mentioned how quiet it was. One of the better ones we were. It was a 10-year anniversary to the My Words riot that happened years ago, but I think that went off really well, as well as the senior bar crawl that went really well to do in that. But our local bars were the problem that weekend. We had the stabbing over here and then another fight on the other end of town. So those are continuing issues we have to be proactive on to try to get ahead of as far as some of the issues that we've had there. So I jumped out over here. And then we had a couple of things. Thanksgiving's coming up. I was able to go over and help at Loaves and Fishes. I served 140 meals. I'll serve 140 meals over there, which is a pretty big turnout, and that was great to do. Reminder, Christmas tree lighting is Friday at 6 p.m. over here at the courthouse. Studio Z will be there doing a dancing, and so there should be a choir there from one of the churches being there, and then back to the fire hall with hot chocolate and cookies with the big guy. So that'll be fun stuff to have that happen. On the bad news, we had a fire on 37 Clayton this weekend. There's a lot of great stories that came out of that. When I went on scene, saw Officer Perkins, our canine officer, you know, frantically pulling stuff out of his car to try to assist in a dog that was that was overcome by smoke and heat, and at least there was 3 dogs. 2 of them did not make it. But at that time, the bigger dog, he was trying to cool off of water and using all of his tools that he could to do it. Meanwhile, our fire department, I witnessed a firefighter laying on the ground, helping another smaller dog that didn't make it later to try to do it. Give him CPR and oxygen is great to see. Fortunately, as the owner, one of the owner or the renters of the property was saying, at least nobody else got hurt, and so that was the good news that came out of it. So with that said, I mean, they're trying to recover from that. So on my Facebook, I posted this before the meeting, a list of items that these families need. There was 7 children under 14 in that property. So they're in need, and one of the things that we was able to witness when going in was a burnt Christmas tree. It kind of hits home a little bit there, that was completely melted. Fire department was outstanding, and their response, were able to put that out without even flooding the rest of the house. Their great response, and PD was right there to assist in securing the scene. And what was even a nice touching story was looking over and seeing the college students come out and put their coats, their blankets, and embrace these kids that were young, trying to figure it all out, watching their parents lose, get worked up to the point where they're out of control, and those, literally hugging the kids. Good stuff. So we'll have them here, a couple of them here at the next meeting, and we'll retort the story, and how great these great kids acted during, these college students acted during this. And that's the second incident we had. So I think we should start something to do with citizen. You had an incident last year in your area as well. But that's real close to Ms. Tillman's home, and it was really neat to see those neighbors come out. For sure, it's good stuff. But there is a list of stuff. There's women's clothing, kids' clothes. So check my Facebook post out. It gives a more descriptive. Thank you for Deputy Chief for taking care of this and organizing this, but the drop-offs will be at the fire department. They'll make sure that it gets distributed to the family. There's a downstairs and an upstairs, if you will, that I identified on Facebook, and there also is GoFundMe pages for both these families as well. So I'm sure they'll get on there as well. So again, we appreciate everybody's efforts that really worked hard to make this happen and hold it together for these families. Okay, so that's all I have. So board reports. Ward 1 is not here, so Ms. Silman, you're up.
Well, since we last met, I did go to the town gown committee meeting, and we did talk about Portica, and from the perspective of the owner-occupied houses on the hill, that was the best Portica he had in terms of how much noise there was. I pointed out that in the past, my neighbor in particular, her front steps are very close to the sidewalk. You don't, like from my house, you have to walk up the hill and walk onto the porch to mess with anything. But her front steps are right there. And she had 3 pumpkins stacked and 6 mums lining her steps. And those were intact the whole weekend, which is a minor miracle. So the only beef is that the banners are still an issue. There's still some unsavory language on the banners, but other than that, and it was a great game. I watched it on my phone from another location. I also attended a meeting for Parker School, and we discussed putting out a new RFP with more specific requirements that reflect the concerns and requests of the community. I met with Bruce Adams, the head of our wastewater treatment plant, and he's been newly appointed to a national advisory board. So that's exciting, a feather in his cap and in the cards. I was reelected, and want to thank all those people who voted for me since we were last together. I met with Lisa Henty, and we talked at length. We discussed some of the fiscal challenges facing the city. And I look forward to talking to her again very soon. Chief Sandy is looking into constituent concerns regarding people speeding on Homer Ave and running the red light at Groton and Madison. I took a tour with Lake House Cannabis with Pat Lane and was very impressed with how it looks, that there will not be paraphernalia on view from the outside of the building. The whole effect is very streamlined, very professional looking, very classy looking. They seem to have considered everything possible. I know they did a lot of research and tried to take the best of what they saw and integrate it into their facility. I asked about education because I work with little kids. And they said in New York State, that's this part of why there's so much red tape, because there's a lot of laws in New York State, and one of them is protecting children. None of the products can be named after things that sound like candy or would be really appealing to children. They can't look like little gummy bears or kids' candy. And Lake House has a lot of information that they will hand out to people, because frankly, there's a wide range of people who partake for a whole variety of reasons, and they want anybody who's looking for cannabis for any of those myriad reasons to feel welcome there and to be able to pinpoint exactly what they need. So I was impressed with that. I was also impressed that New York State has a law that they have to reinvest a certain amount of their wealth back into the community. And then if they don't, the state can revoke their license. And so that was impressive. I also had a visit from the fire department to install smoke alarms in my house. And they put 7 in. And they said they have a whole lot of them. I never took advantage of this program before because I felt like there are people who are in greater need of free smoke alarms, but they assured me that they have a whole pallet full of them and they expire in 10 years. And so please, if you're interested, these guys were so professional, so kind, no judgment. You know, you can invite them into your home and they're very respectful. And if they propose putting it in a spot and you think, oh, absolutely not, they're not going to override you. We were really impressed and just really grateful to have these smoke alarms. And my understanding is that my neighbors, I was down on Harrington at another neighbor's house that night and didn't know about the fire until the mayor called me. But I'm interested in the report that comes out, because my understanding is there weren't smoke alarms in the house.
That is correct. There was no smoke alarm or carbon monoxide detectors in that house.
Neither upstairs nor
There
downstairs.
was not one in that residence. And if it hadn't happened a few hours later, it would have been detrimental, for sure. And it would have been tough for those people to get out.
Yeah.
So again, we will be talking about this more in depth later because it's a 2-family and there is no inspection on that, and not that, but there has been a need. We have a captain in the fire department that has talked about it numerously, how many more incidents we have in single and 2-family homes together than we have all the rest of them combined. And it's a huge concern. But thank you for bringing that to everybody's attention.
Yeah, it is. And I just feel for these people so much. So the way to, if somebody doesn't have Facebook, they can drop things off at the fire department or,
Yes, and they'll have a list there. I'll make sure, somebody's here from the fire department, make sure that they have a list of what the needs are. They can obtain that list, document, piece of paper to get it back to them, what those lists are.
okay. So that's all from the second ward. Thank you.
Okay. Or we can forward this off in an email. I can forward it. So
That would be helpful.
Just one question for Katie or answer someone, I think. Are the 1 and 2 families, are they still certified?
Yes.
Which people, real quick, which means self-certified, you can certify yourself.
Which also
Which
means.
means you inspected it and said that there were smoke detectors in there and were.
And that's a legal document, and then if there aren't smoke detectors and you said there were.
That's right, and that's the point, is for their protection legally too.
Yeah.
If something does come out.
Especially, when we have so many of them that we give away for free.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's really not a reason to
We can talk about it from here till eternity. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Gotta keep doing it so that how they recognize it, so it's too bad. All right, well, thank you for bringing that up. Ward 3.
Okay, so Ward 3, first of all, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the residents of Third Ward who have enough faith in me to reelect me with quite a nice percentage of the votes, and I'm very grateful for that, and I, again, thank you. Secondly, just working on some codes issues with code enforcement, and they're addressing them. So it's just an ongoing communication and transparency between the Third Ward and codes, and they're doing everything that they need to do to correct any issues. Other than that, we're good so far.
Thank you, Ms. Lang.
I too would like to thank the residents of the 4th Ward for re-electing me. I was running unopposed, so, you know, it wasn't really nerve-wracking for me, but I did get to go out in the ward and talk to people, so that was nice. As Katie said, we toured the Lake House Cannabis Dispensary, very impressive. And I learned a lot. I mean, as a child of the 60s, you'd think I'd know this stuff, but I didn't, so I learned a lot.
Shouldn't have gave it up.
Yeah. It's changed a lot. So we'll talk later. I did
Strike
attend,
that.
yeah, I attended the Parker School meeting. And the big news, I got a very nice email from Mr. Dovey. And I think you had something to do with this as well. The New York State DOT has decided, okay, maybe we will put one of those flashing yellow crosswalk signs across Tompkins Street at Pasley.
Hallelujah.
I know. So, it was, thank you for all your hard work and pushing that, and I believe you pushed it as well, so thank you. And the people on Tompkins Street are very happy. I'm calling the fire department to get those smoke detectors. We have some, but can never have too many. And that's about it.
Thank you for that. Mr.
Birthday boy.
Thompson Ward. Fine. I'm calling you boy.
Don't.
Don't. In Ward 5, things have been pretty quiet, with the exception of election night, and I would like to thank everyone that came out to vote. And I especially like to thank them for re-electing me to council and to do the work of the ward. That said, on Cedar Ave, I've received some calls from a couple constituents there. There's some things to look into before things become more problematic as described. And it's gonna take getting a number of different departments involved. It's something that's been reported. That said, there are some concerns from one constituent near Randall as well around smokestacks from the new industry that's over there. And routinely it's smelling of some things. And the number of folks do have asthma, considering how close it is to the school. I definitely have a concern. It's central to both schools. And so I'm not certain who monitors those stacks. I don't know if it's the city or someone else, but and I need to figure that out. And I think that's it for the work.
I'll look at that. I don't think there's any discharge coming out of there as far as making stuff, but I'm sure the odor's there. I'll have them look at that. All right, thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank everyone for re-electing me in the 6th ward, first time I've run uncontested, so. The totes, a couple constituents saying the tire, the actual rollers on the totes have fallen off. Have you had any complaints on that?
Wow. We've had a couple here and there, but not really many. Typically, they'll send out an email and then they'll leave them out there and they'll address it.
Okay,
When they come
okay, all right, so that's what I'll do, I'll call, Blue Moose tomorrow.
Yeah, sometimes when they put them down, they pop off.
Other than that, they've been working great, people are really happy with it, so. That's all I had.
All right, thank you. Mr. Beckwith.
Couple quick things, speaking of Cordica jug and the flashing lights sometimes, I think they're all great as long as the kids push the button, so you're gonna have to teach somebody to push the
I
button.
know, oh, and I do know, I've seen drivers go right through on.
I see it every day when I drive down.
I know,
Around.
yeah, it's
I
not,
drove it around the Cordica jug too much and I got pulled over by a trooper. Back in my city, but
really,
big gosh, the mayor's on the.
I got
Or New Year's Eve, first light, is that, we do anything?
Yeah.
Maybe a few calls on that, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's still on.
Okay, and other than that, I was, the mayor actually helped me to, asked me to fill in for a cleanup on Cordica Jug. That's Sunday morning, and they had over 209 kids show up to work, or clean up, and they were, it was a great turnout, first time I was ever involved in it, I was very impressed. There's some people on the work here, but.
there,
They'll do it. And the Cortland County Hotel and Restaurant Association, supplied coffee, donuts, and water for them to eat before they hit the streets. Clean it, so it was good.
Yeah, they can bend over after.
Yeah.
Every night.
It was really good. I was really, first time I was involved with it, and I was really, it shocked me.
Thank you for covering that.
Other than that, that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Mr. Michaels.
First of all, I wanna thank the constituents in my ward, for also, believing in me and keeping me on the ballot again for, another 4 years. I was made that, their problem is my problem, and I'll continue to, address issues that way. With that being said, I was still, following the mayor around to, some of the different meetings. We've met with, Burn Dairy, at the wastewater, this past week. Town and Gown Steering Committee, Katie had already mentioned that, we had a Cordica debrief. And we also, spoke about future city and college, event. Cortland County Municipal Leader Meeting, last Wednesday, also attended there with the mayor. We met with the new BDC, IDA Executive Director, Brendan O'Brien, spoke on updates on initiatives, within the county. It was a very, well informative meeting, and, looks like he's ready to hit the pavement running. Also fielded a call from a constituent, was also part of Seth's ward. I encourage the individual to reach out to Seth as well, to let them know their concern, and I believe you probably did. So I think we're both on the same page on that one. Good, thank you.
Likewise.
And also toward the Lake House Cannabis House. Very well put together. I was totally impressed. I certainly asked a lot of security questions. Walls, ceilings, back doors, front doors, gates.
More than a bank.
It's like a mini Fort Knox, really.
It is.
Very impressed with the work that they put into that. And that's all I have for my report. It does,
Really,
really does.
strip mall up there.
That was good.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Approval of minutes. There was several in the packet. Does anybody get a chance to review them? Does anybody have any deletions or corrections? And all those in favor?
I,
All those, okay. Resolutions, agenda item number 1, authorize issuance of up to $5 million in revenue anticipation notes of the city of Cortland, Cortland County, New York, in anticipation of receipt of certain revenues due during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024.
Resolved by the Common Council of the City of Cortland, Cortland County, New York, on this 21st day of this November 2023, as follows. You want me to read the sections of that?
No, I think that the context of that. Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Beckwith, Mr. Carpenter? Any questions? Nothing. Can I move it, please?
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
This group is a little rusty here, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's been a while for me. Agenda item number 2, authorize issuance. Oh, I did that, all right, sorry.
No, no, you didn't.
Isn't that her?
No, you didn't.
There's
You
a
did
A ran
Yeah,
and,
they're very
a ran and a tan.
Oh, gotcha, this, forget, this is, sorry about that. Authorize number 2, authorize issuance of up to $5 million in tax anticipation notes of the city of Cortland, New York, in anticipation of collection of real estate taxes to be levied by the city of Cortland, Cortland County for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024.
Resolved by the Common Council of the City of Cortland, Cortland County, New York, on this 21st day of November 2023, as follows.
Also move.
Okay, so then, Mr. Thompson. Anybody else have any questions? Can you move it, please?
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 3, set public hearing on proposed local law relating to property tax levy authorized established in general municipal law 3-C.
Resolved that pursuant to sections 3-C5 of the general municipal law and section 20 of the municipal home rule law of the state of New York, a public hearing on a proposed local law to authorize the override of the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2024 shall be held on December 5th, 2023, that should be, at 6 p.m. at City Hall, 25 Court Street, and that the city clerk shall publish notice of such hearing in the official newspaper of the city of Portland.
I'll move it.
Second, Mr. Snell, Mr. Beckwith, any questions? Move it, please.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 4, confirm mayor's appointment to the planning commission.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council does hereby confirm Mayor Steve's appointment of Antonio Testa to the Planning Commission for a term of office ending December 31st, 2028.
Mr. Beckwith, Mr. Carpenter, any questions? Move it, please.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 5, authorize mortgage subordination and agreement.
Resolved that the city of Portland subordinates its mortgage instrument number 2021-05291, recorded on September 30th, 2021 with the Portland County Clerk. Said subordination to facilitate a new first mortgage with Paragon Home Loans Incorporated in the amount of $87,500 for said owner, and further authorizes Mayor Steve to sign a subordination agreement for the same.
I'll move it. I'll second.
Ms. Pinello, Ms. Lane, Mr. Meldrum back there.
I didn't say.
Real quick, this says, new first mortgage. Aren't we going for the second mortgage on this?
I think,
It can't be the first.
right, so it's a subordination agreement, we would just take less of a priority if
Yeah.
signing wherever they pay this off,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what that means.
This is something that, we do all the time.
Right.
you're never gonna be above the bank.
Right.
No, no,
Exactly.
I wish we could, but.
Well,
Like, I think this individual trying to refinance, and a condition of that, refinance that loan would be that they're the superior lien.
just the wording is, facility a new first mortgage, and that just kind of tripped me up on that language. I just don't know.
New first.
I just want to make sure the intent is clear, everybody understands. We will assume the second mortgage because we were the first mortgage, he had no mortgage, now the
Yeah,
refinancing.
we're the
and-
second
I mean,
lien.
ultimately, that, yeah.
I just wanna
The
make sure-
first mortgage indicates that you're, like, you have superior like,
Right.
lien.
Right, so we would become second. I just want to make sure that's clear, because that English wasn't clear.
New first mortgage.
Right, so maybe the next time we clean up that language, so just, I want to make sure it's clear to everybody else that they're voting on. It makes sense. Okay?
Right, is, in order to be the first.
Right, yeah, common sense prevails. If we don't do it, I'm
Yeah.
not signing. that.
Why that ever happened that way, but you're never gonna screw the bank.
All right, well, we'll adjust that next time, thank you.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 6, accept recommendations of the Parker School Ad hoc Advisory Committee to withdraw the RFP for the sale and future use of the former Parker School building and to issue a revised RFP reflecting the community's interests.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council does hereby accept in full the recommendation submitted by the Parker School Ad hoc Advisory Committee on November 8th, 2023. And be it further resolved that the Common Council hereby withdraws the request for proposals issued in March 2023, exercising its rights as reserved in section 6A of the RFP. Be it further resolved that the city of Portland shall issue, after review by the Parker School Ad hoc Advisory Committee, a revised RFP that includes and emphasizes the criteria, covenants, and parameters of mixed-use redevelopment as recommended by the advisory committee. And be it further resolved that the advisory committee shall review and the public shall be given opportunity to comment on any proposals submitted in response to the RFP prior to the Common Council accepting or rejecting any proposal.
So moved.
Sullivan, I think that's appropriate. Mr. Carpenter, second. So real quick, so just trying to give an overview for the people that weren't involved. There's, a lot of time was, made, and I appreciate everybody that helped in that committee and to work hard to make that happen. I think Mr. McGivern's here, who was instrumental in helping review some of these items. So, if you have any questions, maybe he can help as well. I think, so in list under the whereas we have here is trying to take care of all what the constituents in that community really want to have. And there's a good representation there to talk about over density and not creating the issue and some of the things they want to keep in the flavor of, for example, the architecture of the building and not expanding or changing that look. The sign, where that might seem silly, but keeping that sign in as part of the doing that. I know, the RFP that was out there was, I think covered a lot of it, but it wasn't as specific of what it is. So to give the opportunity for INHS to revisit that pricing that they would pay for the building or do something different and open up the opportunities based on what the community would see. We feel like this is an appropriate way to approach retracting this RFP and putting another RFP out. I did have a phone conversation, I think, I can't remember, I think Mr. Miller was on the call. It didn't seem like they had much interest in they would be precluded from doing this based on some of the square footage requirements we have. So, I find that sad, in that aspect, but maybe they'll reconsider and review it and have that, the call ended abruptly during that time period. With that said, I feel like the diligence was done well, and it was brought back to the community members, and the community members talked with each other, and anybody else who's on that committee can speak to that if they would like. So if anybody has any other questions, I guess that's the flavor of that intent, so we're gonna get this out. Right.
It's good to see you.
Mike, the only thing I see is any problem you foresee with, pretty, I got the multi-use.
As far
I mean,
as,
I know we talked about changing the zoning, so this could happen.
Yeah, well,
In the
this-
real world, it wouldn't happen.
yeah, we talked to the state, and the state, we spent some time with the state, and we had some good dialogue, and they actually utilized our building as an example of how it could be utilized, anticipating it was gonna be multi-use, zoning, so, I don't see that being a problem at all.
The other thing real quick, that might to deter people is the fact that you limited the expansion of the building footprint. And the only reason I'm saying that is you come in a lot of handicap issues and that you might have to address. And as an investor, you don't wanna use rentable square footage to accommodate
Yeah.
that. So what do you wanna do? You wanna go outside, so
I think
just saying, we have.
ramps are a little bit different than that.
Yeah, but that's still changing the footprint, so I don't know if you're following me there.
Yeah.
Originally, we talked about the why, when the problem was, we have all these handicap ramps.
Right.
It was about 5 feet, well, 5 feet and 1/8 inch a foot, is a long way for a ramp.
The neighborhoods were concerned with the look
Yeah.
of the exterior of the
Yeah.
building, and they did not want a wing built. On the
Well, it would
side.
be minor change, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there, I think it's great, I mean,
I appreciate that.
but it's stuff you gotta look at as investors gonna look at.
I'm hoping that we get some strong responses to this new RFP.
You know, that's a great point, but minor would be, maybe the wording of the RFP would be minor exterior.
Yeah.
I mean, there's slight, there's not so much.
That was all.
Well, nothing's really set in stone at this point.
Yeah, they're gonna come back with their wish list
I
too.
scrolled down several actions that could be used for their building, especially on the first floor.
No, yeah. Good.
I appreciate everybody's help on that, everybody's work, it was great, good way to see democracy work, I guess, and communication. Anything else? Okay, thanks.
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 7, authorize letter of support for the YWCA grant application to fund emergency and permanent supportive housing for domestic violence victims and survivors.
Resolved that the common council does hereby authorize Mayor Steve to submit a letter in support of the Cortland YWCA's grant application through the Empire State Supportive Housing Initiative to fund emergency and permanent supportive housing for domestic violence victims and survivors.
Ms. Lane? Ms. Silliman? So I was able to talk to Ms. Tobin today to try to, there is no site specific as of now. So, they're working on that and it's in concept only, but the grant needs to get in, pretty quickly. But it would be up to 30 units, and not this, there would be some domestic violence. So right now, I think their domestic violence is just a women's facility. So this would be men and women's facility. But, you know, they would try to get some 10 emergency housing with, it would be 24-hour security, so they have a bunch of other options they're trying to work towards to try to get the, fulfill the needs of our housing concerns in our community.
That's kind of like the Grace Brown.
Yeah, I was gonna say, great.
But it's similarly, but all.
If you could have men.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the word I wanna use.
Yeah, and again,
Both genders, I guess.
we're hoping to get,
Or a gender, I should say today.
right, because they're part of the housing group that we're trying to work on. They're trying to work on trying to get some short-term needs and be able to help sort of with some of the homeless and some of those other issues. So there's some great ideas in the pipeline. I appreciate the way WCA stepped up for this complicated problems that we have.
And they just did a nice, they just got a nice grant too.
Yeah.
Because they did all that.
Yeah, so it's all good
It's well
stuff.
overdue for that building.
Yeah, for sure. That's another great looking building. Anybody else have any questions on this?
Councilmember Silliman,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 8, authorize police department hiring and contemplation of retirements.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council grants authority to the chief of police to hire 2 additional police officers above their authorized staffing levels effective December 14th, 2023 through December 1st, 2024. To lessen the impact of staffing shortages based on information the 2 senior officers are intending to retire in 2024.
I'll move it.
So, Mr. Pinell, Mr. Carpenter. Yeah, so we've done this with the fire before. It takes a good solid year and sometimes a little bit longer if they're younger, right? To get them into the police department. So we're hoping to, we got some great candidates. I met one of them today that hopefully, was doing a ride along and some altercation and ended up in the South Marina. We got some good candidates. I'm pretty excited about that part. So hopefully this will be a grant to start. Yeah, for the downtown. Yes, we did. We got a grant to fill the downtown position. So we just gotta get back, keep our staff rolling, so keep that happening. So it's encouraging to see some good people coming up, and we do have a great police department. They're really doing very well. Anybody have any questions?
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 9, authorize youth bureau to set fees for the use of the city park buildings, pavilions, and shelters.
Resolved that the city of Portland Common Council authorizes the city of Portland Youth Bureau to increase fees to all facilities to $150 for city residents and $175 for non-city residents, beginning January 1st, 2024.
Back with Mr. Carpenter. I do not recall what they are now. I know that Andrew's here. but-
It's $100 for Beaudry,
Yeah.
or $100 for city residents, $125 for non-city residents. So an increase of 50.
So it's a little bit, it's a cheap birthday party.
Right.
Anybody have any questions?
Do you have anything in there that states for like
Cleaning
cleaning or?
$50.
They got a rental policy.
Oh, okay, I just making sure, because I'm saying, it's sometimes that might not even be enough money, but as long as it's spelled out, it'd be a
Take a
different fee.
deposit for incidentals. and
Okay,
cleaning and-
yeah.
They did have an incident last year that it wasn't enough, right?
This year, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
anybody else have any questions? All right, let's move it.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
All right, discussion item, update on, discussion for the Cubeville Addition, recovery services cars on the community concerns about the proposed methadone treatment clinic. So again, it's ongoing work. It's gonna be continuing ongoing work to try to get that to happen. So again, I'll invite the same people that were at the last meeting to attend, the 27th at 5 PM on 6 Euclid. That is, and that'll be to discuss the security aspects of it, this, the security guard schedule. How they're gonna monitor the perimeter, how they're gonna be walking, how frequent, the update on the fence and, where that is at. Kathy Bischoff from the county is, I think is in attendance, or she is here. They're in attendance, who's been very, instrumental in supporting and working towards trying to work something together. And I think we have a meeting next week, is it? Yeah, I can. So try to work out some plans on getting them, help for fencing and vehicles, those kind of, things that I think it happens after that meeting.
27.
They're gonna give contact numbers and communications and then set up a meeting to, with the community so they can keep meeting regularly to work out the issues that come up during this. And to be proactive to do that. So make sure that PD is there as well, so we can make sure we address things in a unilateral approach. Again, that meeting is the 27th PM at 6 Euclid, and that is not a public meeting, that is just for the local residents. Mr. Jewett, do we have that list? Do you have that list so you can make sure they get that, or I have?
I don't, I've never seen that.
Okay. So I think it's moving in a positive direction, and we're trying to be proactive to do that. So when that happens, I think that's between yours and Mr. Scott's boards, so to make sure that we have those good dialogues. So we'll invite the same people that are the liaisons for that community, because I think that works best to have it that way, instead of rehashing out why and how. We're just moving forward to try to be as proactive and as effectively as we can. Again, I think, Legislator Bishop, her efforts on this, she's been above and beyond. I wish, everybody was so intent with our community, so we appreciate that. So if anybody has any other discussion or questions on that?
What office is that gonna be in, do you know?
This, the 6 Euclid is and you know where that is, the building on the right.
Yeah, okay.
So you'll see the side entrance door will be open. If you have that. Does anybody have anything else?
Wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes, you as well. Thank you all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, all right. So I'll take a motion to adjourn. Second.
Excited.
All those in favor? All those, okay, thank you.
So the meeting is in that car.
Second, you at the site.